fingers strained and unraveled, like the fair little hairs on his arm in the cold. Then, in a particularly strong current that tugged the boat left, then right, the rope snapped. "Oh," he cried, not in a loss, but in a sudden rush of excitement. To Carl's surprise, his father did not run after it. Standing behind the boy in his old wool sweater, his slender shoulders hunched forward against the wind blowing from behind them, he put a firm, restraining hand on his son's shoulder, expecting that it was Carl who would give chase. "Father." "She craves her freedom," his father said softly. "But she's trapped." "The river craves her as well, and the river is mightier," his father said. "Do not grieve, we had a good run with her." Carl did not mourn the loss, but his own thwarted plans. Now who would warn the invaders to stay away from their shores? He watched the boat rise and fall and occasionally twist like a weather vane on the rapid waters. The young boy watched until he could see her no longer, and then with a misty rain rising against their necks, they went home. The next day, on his way to the schoolhouse 7 blocks away, Carl walked along the river as always. Only this time his eyes were not on the other children or the automobiles or the horse carts that moved through the cobbled streets. It was on the murky, olive-colored waters. Nearly at the school, he saw something that caused him to stop short. His little boat was lying on its side in the shallows, on the rock, more under the water than above it. He had seen the blue and green colors glinting dully in the sun. The rope he'd sawed in two was tangled on a metal projection from a barge parked along the shore. It had snagged the toy boat and dragged the Adelheid backward. There was a tiny rent in its hull, and water burbled in and out. It reminded him of the ocean liner his parents had been talking about 2 or 3 years earlier, the British ship that had collided with an iceberg and went down. Carl was sad, but only for a moment. His ship was dead, but there was something peaceful, natural, even beautiful about it. The Adelheid had ceased to be something belonging to people and was now more of a fish. He mentioned at supper that night what he had seen. His father smiled. "So, it is still just resting." "Yes, we need to find a way to free her. Perhaps we can throw stones? Sticks." "Oh, you do not understand," his father said with a wink at Carl's mother. "It has changed into something wonderful, like a caterpillar into a butterfly." "Father?" Carl asked, confused by that and by his mother's smile. "It has become an Unterseeboot, a U-boat." "A U-boat?" he repeated. The word, the mysterious way his father said it, sounded fascinating and strange. For a moment the boy forgot his loss. "What is a U-boat?" "It is a ship that sails beneath water," the man replied. "Beneath?" the boy said reverently. His mind immediately conjured a version of the Adelheid, with a tail and a fin made of metal like a smokestack, with mermaids in the bridge and on deck. But after dinner his father took him to the desk where he wrote his correspondence, and, dipping a pen in ink, drew out a cigar-shaped object with stick-figure men inside and an air tube running to the surface of a roughly sketched sea. He added a pump inside, in the back, and explained that from what he had read the boats draw in air, then withdraw the tube and submerge. He sketched a propeller in the back and explained that, like an automobile, it used fuel to drive the U-boat forward. Carl never thought of the Adelheid again. In all their talks, in all their reading, in all his own studies, in all the classes he had sat through, Carl had never heard of anything like that. Immediately after eating, the young boy went across the hall to Herr Lang, a retired school teacher who sometimes helped Carl with mathematics and who owned more than an atlas and a dictionary. He possessed an encyclopedia, an incredible library of knowledge. Together, Carl and the old bachelor looked up U-boats. There was a little about how the French author Jules Verne inspired engineers with his novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in 1869, how the first working designs were tested later in the 19th century.